and welcome to Podpadstudios episode 40. Yay! And guess what? Lockdown in the UK. It's been eased a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So we're going on a company outing. Woohoo! Come on.
Where are we going?
Wait and see. Wait and see. Look. Quick, in the car. Action stations. Here we go.
You can't drive and
Right, okay, here we go.
Camera. Here we go.
Woohoo! Let's go.
Where are we going?
Ready? Oh, just wait and see. Wait and see. We're all going on a summer holiday. Working for a week or two. Fun and laughter with our little DJI camera. Cool camera.
Careful, police in front of us. Speed bump.
Like, if YouTube recognises summer holiday from my whistling, highly unlikely, actually. 250 quid for them, and they cost a fortune, and then you can't actually use them.
Now?
Well, video cameras. Each phone's got a video camera in it. Just use them. You're already paying absolutely.
Yeah, but the quality isn't good enough.
Yeah, but just whacking on. No one will notice. It's all about content, isn't it? Not quality.
So this was your idea then, for 40th episode celebration? McDonald's?
But making YouTube videos is really, really hard work. I've made 40 of them. I'm getting really hungry now. Really hungry. So, needs must. I am really, really hungry. I just keep thinking of all those YouTube videos, 40 of them. That's really hard work.
It's not hard work, not if you've got the right kit.
Right kit?
Yeah, we've bought loads of really top quality kit and it makes it really easy to do.
So, why did we get that humongous camera? I mean, it's got about 50 million knobs and buttons on it. And every time I look at it, I'm absolutely petrified, even if I go anywhere near it, that I might break it.
It's lightweight, it's portable, it's easy to use. Have you thought about your order yet?
I'm going through the options. Burger, deli of the day, fish something, fish fillet of fish. Don't know if they do that anymore at the moment. And can I have a Big Mac meal, large? Thank you.
Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
So we survived the drive-through. 16 hours later.
Happy 40th. It's very delicious. Cheers.
Right, so in our 10th show that we did for YouTube, we actually talked about the tech that we used to create our channel and the cameras that we used and some of the other bits and pieces. And we, at the time, we were using one of these, digital single lens reflex. This Canon one we've got is absolutely amazing. It is really amazing at taking stills, and we use it even now with all our product shots. The only thing is it's lacking a little bit for video. We struggled a little bit with, you know, the zoom and the focus and just getting the shots consistent all the time. So we decided to go for a little bit of an upgrade and, well, solve that problem. And we solved it by going with one of these. It's the Panasonic UX90. And the camera bit is actually, it's a camcorder for all intents and purposes, but the quality of it is really, really good. Lots and lots and lots of buttons. But the beauty of all those buttons is you don't need to go into any menus to find anything. If you want to focus something or you want to white balance something, you just press a button and it works. It's so much easier than going into lots of menus. Now, you might think this all looks a bit complicated, and there are one or two things that we have added to this camera. You would think, oh, lovely little camera, very portable. Battery, by the way, on this thing lasts for literally about 9 hours. It just goes on forever, the batteries on these cameras. Amazing. We have added lots of extra bits. Now, this you've seen before. This is our audio interface. Now, even though this camera can take a direct input, or it can take 2 direct input from microphones, and we use the Rode microphones, which I'll talk about in a bit, we still feed the Rode microphones through this sound process and then into the camera, because we really like the quality of this. Plus, we have redundancy built into this. So if the sound goes wrong for any reason, we've got a backup of the sound, which we can overdub later in editing. Other bits, I mean, obviously things like the viewfinder are really, really, really useful. You know, because just sometimes you just can't get the focus with a screen. Speaking of screens, this one's got a really dinky little look. It hooks away and it folds out. It's really, really good. Loads of information on it, and it's a touchscreen. Only negative of this, it's very glossy. You can't see it outside at all. So if you're in sunlight or bright light, you cannot see this monitor at all. And this is where this one comes in, which is the daylight monitor. Now, obviously I've gone for a bigger monitor because I'm old and I'm blind, so it's easier to see things. But of course you've got to mount it up, which means you've got to make a bracket, and then you've got to power it up, and you've got to plug it into the camera. And talking about power, I made this little contraption on the back here that plugs in extra Panasonic batteries, so we can power lots of other things. So I can power the audio interface and I can power the screen from one set of batteries. And again, that means we get like hours and hours and hours of runtime. You're not changing the batteries all the time. Other things, obviously it's all been mounted to this rack because we can unclip it and we can pick it up. There's a follow focus wheel here, which I must admit I actually don't use. I put it on there because I thought we'd use it all the time, but I hardly ever use it, so it's probably going to come off that because it's so much easier to use the camera functions because everything's accessible. This is amazing. I got this. This was really cool. You can control every aspect of the camera from a hand. So if you're in the studio, we can control the iris, white balance. We can record. We got the pan, the zoom, everything. It's really, really good. Other things, brackets. So I created a little bracket here on top of the camera, so we can mount the Rode mics. So obviously we need to mount the receivers, which then run, as I said, into the Tascam, which run into the camera. Again, and the matte box at the front, which we use to put filters on when we're outside, shades to stop glare on the lens, and obviously we can mount different filters into that as well and get some really kind of fancy effects. Of course, the beauty of all of this, with the click of a button, it all comes off, which means I can put it on my shoulder. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention shoulder pad, which I've put on as well. Bring it out and I can just walk around and I could use this all day long. It's perfectly balanced and it's easy to use. So as I mentioned, the beauty of this camera is all the buttons and the switches. Dual SD card, so there's redundancy. We press the button, it just works. You'll notice I've color coded things. This is for Mrs. Breaker. Now Mrs. Breaker has a problem with buttons, but if I color code it, which means yellow or red or blue, you notice everything is color coded everywhere. So Mrs. Breaker just can use it, and she does actually like this camera. She does use it really, really well. As I said, there are modifications. All of this rack unit was all built. All of these things here are all kind of quick release. So these all can kind of come off. They can unbolt. It's very simple. The tripod itself, obviously the camera's a little bit heavier. It weighs in about 6 kilos. The tripod itself needed to be a little bit bulkier. Interestingly, these tripods are really, really, really good, but they don't spread very wide. The legs don't spread very wide. And I was really concerned that it wasn't very stable. So I modified it and built this bar unit in here so we can actually extend this now. Now to buy these things, I'll probably be paying about 100, 150 quid to buy something like this. This is just fabricated. So we've built all this to means it's all got full adjustment. You can lock it in, lock it out, slide it in and out. Very, very simple to use. So there's simple adjustments and simple modifications that can be made without spending loads and loads of money.
So as Master Maker said, when we first started doing YouTube, we used the stills camera and the video function on it. It was quite good, but it didn't really let in enough light. And when we were out and about at Comic-Cons, it was pretty heavy. So I found I used my phone, which was okay. The quality wasn't so good and it was a little bit juddery and wobbly. And in the end, we decided to splash out on this little man. Now, we've reviewed this very thoroughly in episode 10, and since then we've had it for about a year. It has not missed a beat. It is absolutely fabulous. And really, I love it. I love its simplicity. I love its ruggedness. I think it's brilliant. The issue we have when we're out and about is that we need to use a microphone, especially if we're interviewing someone. So the little mic in here is going to struggle if it's got to pick up someone who's 1.52 metres away, as per regulations. So what we use is we use the Rode mics, as you can see. That's the receiver, that's the sender, and then the receiver's very similar. But we obviously have to then plug the receiver into here. So to do that, It's really cool. You got a bit there, bit there. Where's it gone? There you go. And that means anything I'm saying or the person I'm interviewing saying, if they've got one of these attached to them, can go into the camera and be recorded on the video. Brilliant. The other thing with this when you're out is that the screen, I'll just turn it on there, is very small. And if you're out and it's a sunny day, like we had fortune to record a couple of times last year, the sun's so bright you can't see, and you definitely can't see the detail for making sure it focuses. It has excellent focus systems, but you obviously have to check you have got it focused visually. So DJI have allowed you to have a wireless connection to a phone and their app. And their app is brilliant. It's really, really rock solid. But unfortunately, to do the wireless, you have to click this bit on the bottom of the camera, which means you then can't connect the mic. They've also thought about that, and they have this connection here, which connects like that, and that goes into the phone. And then you can turn the app on, you can see the screen, you can check your focusing, you can actually control the whole camera through it. The issue we had here was I was looking at this screen, I was looking at that screen. I found I was moving this one thinking it was changing recording, and it wasn't. And I was like this all over the shot. And then, of course, I tripped over and, you know, yeah, not good. So Master Maker had a solution for that. So here is the solution. Ta-da! We lovingly refer to this as the 5G mast. And as you can see, camera's mounted on the top. Then you can see from the bottom, we come out to the receiver for the Rode mic. And then from the camera, there's one cable which goes to the phone. It's all in one hand, which means you can frame the shot very easily, and you control all of the menus in the camera through the phone, and you hit there to record. And yeah, easy to control stuff. So I love it. Cheers, Master Maker. Absolutely love it.
Right, so one of the issues that you have with cameras like this is the image stabilisation. Now, this camera's got amazing electronic image stabilisation, but it's not mechanical. So if you walk along or you run and you want to get shots with the camera, you're going to get that up and down bouncy solution problem. So I came up with my own not so lightweight solution, but it does work. As you can see here, it's absolutely perfect. The camera is completely balanced. The jacket takes all the weight of the camera. The arm provides obviously the stability. It's called Steadicam. We can move the camera in any axis, and it's very, very simple. And obviously, as you can see, the shots are completely and absolutely stable.
So let's talk about stabilisation. Obviously, Master Maker, you saw him just now. He had a bit of a problem with stabilisation. Now with the DJI, it's got its brilliant gimbals built in, which means most of your movements with it are very, very smooth, and the results have been super, even with an old fuddy-duddy like me. But you still have the problem when you walk, you get the bounce. And that's what Master Maker built that whole big suit for. Giant thing, lots of knobs and whistles and complicated things, and it takes him an hour to get out of, and I'm not even quite sure if I can walk in it because it is so heavy. So I've got my own system just for the DJI. Ta-da! And as you can see, it just smooths out the motion. So this is the sort of thing I will be using if I went to a Comic-Con and I saw a really nice vehicle and I wanted to just pan down the side of the vehicle, but I obviously have to keep walking because it's a big thing and I've got a small video camera, so I've got to walk along to collect it. So this is what we use, and it's the same as the 5G mask. Everything plugs in, very light, very simple. Off you go.
So obviously you've seen the Steadicam solution to stop us bouncing around, all the extra little bits. I suppose the funny thing about this is, well, let me just unplug a few wires here. So I'm going to unplug the microphone from the camera, and I'm just going to unplug, it'll undo a clip at the back here, and you can basically see, here is the got a few wires connected in still, because obviously with the microphones, but basically it's a tiny little camera really.
So guys, that's it for our 40th episode, and that's our journey from complete YouTube novices to where we are now.
40 episodes.
40 episodes later. And really, as we do have to say...
That's not including all the extras we've done as well.
No, there's been extra ones that are not actually updates.
Yeah.
But we kind of have to say thank you to you guys because all your comments and all your
Yeah.
subscriptions and your shares and everything, it makes it feel worthwhile because when you release an episode, you instantly get a bit of feedback, and that is so
Yeah.
cool. And we hope we've entertained you over lockdown and some pretty hard times. So we talked quite a lot about the tech, and there was one piece of tech we really agree on.
Yeah.
The Rode mics.
These.
Ta-da.
We can't really get them touch them because obviously we're
think I
using them
just
at the
touched
moment.
mine.
She probably did. It's like, does it work? Bang, 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 bang. I tell you what, they're brilliant. They're really, really
They're
good.
so strong and it's so simple to use. Even I can use them and I'm a right numpty.
I mean, we were using, I can't remember what we were using now, some Sennheiser
Sennheiser.
ones, just normal UHF ones
Little
before, which
plug.
you plug them in, they got the wires and all the packs and all that kind of stuff. But it's the simplicity of these. The only negative, actually, that I have, well, there is one negative, actually, that we don't like about them. However, there is a new model of this mic, which Rode have put right.
Yeah.
They have a windsock that goes on the top,
Yeah, a little furry thing.
but it clips in and it always falls off.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
And it doesn't matter what you do,
we've
it
got-
always falls off. And I think the new one they've done actually screws on,
Yeah.
so it can't just fall
That's
off.
cool.
Also, the new one, which I think we might have to purchase,
Really?
maybe. Well, you can never have too much tech.
Accountant says,
The old Rode, or say old Rode, these ones, which are actually brilliant, as I said, have a receiver and a transmitter. So,
Yeah.
so you need you'll have. So on the camera now that we're using, we've got the two receivers plugged in, and then obviously with the two transmitters. The new one can run two transmitters to one receiver, which is really convenient. So you have less wires,
Yeah.
which you'd be happy about. And of course, then we'd have extra microphones when we do interviews and things like that.
and they really have lasted. And really,
Yeah,
we
they're as
got
tough
no
as old
dropout.
nails.
We really didn't get dropout.
No, people
We had one
complained.
once.
People complained, didn't they, when they first came out, that they weren't any good for range.
Yeah.
But we've never had problem. And we film inside metal
Metal
vehicles with the
vehicles.
camera on the outside. We
Yeah.
don't get dropout. No, that first time we had the dropout is because we forgot to charge the batteries.
We were in the woods, weren't we?
Yeah.
It's anyway.
Yeah.
But we really, nowadays, we hardly even monitor them when we're actually working because
No,
they are
they just
rock
work.
solid. They're really good.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so lots of tech. But I think we've come to the conclusion that we know what is the best camera though.
Really?
Yeah, it's the Panasonic,
What?
the UX90.
Yeah, but-
Well, we're using it right now. We're in a studio. We're using the Panasonic. The quality is good.
But what about this little baby? Pound for pound, its features are fabulous. And look how strong it is and robust. Mrs. Breaker hasn't broken it. It's just
She hasn't
so
actually.
cool, so light.
She still struggles. There's only 2 buttons on it. And she still struggles. And one of them is bright red, and she still struggles to work out which button
I
to press.
sometimes think that's the open
Yeah,
the up.
I do concede that it is really, really good. It is good quality. It does have a few issues. I mean, the thing with the Panasonic is the lens is so good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what anyone says
concede
to
that.
me. Lenses are. I mean, this we use this at the beginning. This is the reason I'm holding this. Is the Canon one we had. This is the most amazing stills this thing does. And when we got the Panasonic, I did think about getting I think it was the D90 or the 90D, because its video functions on it are much, much better than this one. This is quite old, really designed for stills and not for video. And also form factor, it's like this is designed to take photos, to hold, just
Yeah.
the way you hold it, you
Yeah.
take photos. It's not a video camera.
No.
But it's nice because it has detachable lenses and it's got all the gadgets on it. I tell you what was a pain is the menus.
Yeah, so this is really interesting because
Yeah.
the menus hide everything away, and they mean that ergonomically it's probably much simpler to look at and interact with.
Well, it's
and when I
just
look at the big
2
camera,
wheels, isn't it?
It's covered in buttons, which is a bit scary, but you can access what you want to access extremely quickly, and it's
Yeah.
it's quite instinctive as long as you learn which button's which. And somebody colour coded them for me, so that was
Well,
okay.
it's that old-fashioned 80s camcorder,
Yeah.
stroke cinema camera
Yeah.
against menus, touch screens,
it's
which is
interesting.
great, very, very powerful. And Canon's autofocus is about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
But it's when you're doing it quick, it's hard to get to, and that's.
I mean, sometimes with Horn of Variable, we just got this out because
Yeah.
we wanted to phone an update, film an update really, really quickly, rather than actually getting the big camera. Even though it is a point and shoot, the big camera, the way it's set up.
It can
now,
be,
You
yeah.
turn it on and it does just work. But I actually found it easier to use this just to get quickly on the.
We
move.
did have a problem with the menus on this one because, again, it is menu driven, but once you get it set up, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
However, you can't see the screen.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You have to connect the phone to it
be able to see all
to
the
be able
menus
to
in
see
detail.
all the menus, because
Yeah.
seems like a lot of the menus you can't see it on
Yeah.
the screen.
But
You have
then
to connect it via the app.
The app is really cool. It doesn't
The app
crash.
is really, really good.
It's brilliant. It
Yeah.
works really, really
There is a
well.
new one of these now, because this is the DJI Osmo Pocket.
It's getting
Well, no,
expensive.
because I don't think it's worth it, the new one, because I think it's called the Osmo Pocket 2.
Right.
I think it's just got some extra functions,
Yeah.
but they still haven't, as far as I can see, ironed out some problems. In that if you this plugs on, this is like the wireless module, so when that's plugged into the camera, that allows you to send the imagery from the camera to the phone wirelessly, which is great, but not if you want to plug a microphone into it, because you can't plug it. It's the same socket.
Yeah, all they had to do was have 2 of these on.
Yeah. Now, whether that's been resolved in the new one or
it's
not,
simple.
I don't know. And to be honest, the upgrade I don't think is worth it, because the quality on that thing is actually really,
Yeah,
really
I
good.
love it. So that's it for our tech review, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
We still agree to disagree, and this is the one I grab when I want to get something quick. But,
but they're just tools, aren't they? When we want still shots, we use this. When we
Yeah.
want, like,
Yeah.
we're shooting stuff quickly, we take
It's
that.
like having
and
your
when
different welders, isn't it? And doing different things.
Right
with
tool
that.
for the right job.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so that's the end of that. Just a little sub note here that we heard the other day that Dave Prowse estate is putting up a lot of his memorabilia that he's collected over the years for sale in an auction. I think it's East Bristol auction, but I'll put the link below. And why is this connected to us?
Well, for those of you that don't know Dave Prowse, but if you're watching this, you probably do. Dave Prowse, Darth Vader, the Green Cross Code Man. Now, the Green Cross Code Man is the link that we have to him. A number of years ago, Jeremy, David's agent, approached us and mentioned that they had this little droid, this little robot that had been in Dave Prowse's shed. And it was a bit battered and a bit sort of, worse for wear. And could we do something about it? So we looked at it and we completely refurbished the Green Cross Code Droid. I was a bit kind of starstruck, really, because this is like an 80s icon.
Yeah, it's our youth.
And to have it in the workshop, and it was, it's like, oh, wow, it's the real thing, this. And we kind of redid it all. It got new electronics in it. So it's
quite
Dave,
exciting.
his plan was to take it out on the road again, because Dave was so taken with the Green Cross Code.
He felt that was his best work.
Absolutely.
Even including Darth Vader.
Absolutely,
so, Yeah, so we kind of like, it's sad, because we all miss him. His presence in the world is gone, and it's so sad. But it's a good thing that they're going to raise some money from charity with the sale, which is Alzheimer's Charities, which is really, really worthy cause. And also, obviously, the robot will find a new home. So there's lots of other memorabilia for sale as well, lots of Star Wars related stuff, which is quite exciting to have a look at, scripts and just a lot of fan art that is just absolutely brilliant. So we put the link below, and if you're interested in that, then, pop on and have a look. That's it, really. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't already, please do click that button and make sure you ring the bell. Ding! Ding! Bye.
We need to get a bell sound.
We do.
We do. Bye.
Where's the red dot?
What red dot?
Normally there's a red dot that says it's recording. I can't see it.
I can't see it either.